Let the good times roll. Miscellaneous ramblings on the topic of bowling in the corridor, from some of the first alleys to those that remain today. 1960 photo at the Walnut Creek Bowl.
But before we begin with that, a brief timeline of bowling going back to 3200 BC. Bowling has been around for thousands of years, with ancient civilizations playing variations of the game. The modern game of bowling as we know it today was first played in the United States in the 1800s. The first evidence of a game resembling bowling dates back to ancient Egypt, where a game was played with stones that were rolled towards other stones. I'm not sure where Fred Flintstone fits into this timeline, but I am guessing this is probably pretty close. In 300 CE, the Romans are believed to have developed a game called bocce, which involved rolling a ball towards a target. This game would later influence the development of bowling.
In 1366, the first recorded mention of a game resembling bowling was made by King Edward III of England, who allegedly banned his troops from playing it in order to focus on archery practice. In 1455, the first indoor bowling alley was opened in Germany. The game was called Kegelspiel and involved rolling a ball towards 10 pins. In 1895, the American Bowling Congress was founded in New York City, becoming the first national organization to regulate the sport. In 1951, the first automatic pin setting and scoring machine was introduced, revolutionizing the game and making it more efficient. These are the Contra Costa bowling alleys I did a little research on. This list is from a 1965 Thomas Brothers map book. Bowling was at its peak in the mid-60s. One of the first bowling alley in the corridor was the Richmond Bowling Courts at 24th and McDonald, which featured 10 modern alleys. It opened September 13, 1939. Later on, it was renamed the Uptown Bowl. The Uptown stayed in business until 1996, when its equipment was put up for sale. The next was the Richmond Bowl, which opened to great fanfare November 11th, also in 1939. This was before automatic pin setting and scoring, but Brunswick was already in the game, offering bowling balls and supplies for 50 cents a week. The first bowling alley in Central County was announced by the owner of the Paddock Bar in Pacheco, Jack Kramer, in July of 1951. Shown here under construction in July. It opened August 22, 1952, featuring the latest generation of Brunswick pin setters. Unfortunately, Jack passed a little over a year later, in September 1953. Antioch Bowl featured 8 lanes and was open from the late 1930s until the 1980s. The wood pile was the alley's very popular lounge. For a number of years, Antioch Bowl coexisted with Delta Brunswick Bowl on Delta Fair. Antioch Bowl is now several shops, including Indigo Skin Design and Kirby Vacuum Cleaners. Concord Bowl photo of the 24 bowling lanes being built and laid into position just a month before this alley was scheduled to open November 2nd, 1958. Interesting description of the lane woods being used. Longleaf pine in the center and maple at the end for heavier wear. I could not find when this alley closed. The building of the Danville Bowl was announced October 2nd, 1960. Note that this was a little before the 680 freeway was built, so the streets were still listed as Freitas and Highway 21, today named Boone Court and San Ramon Valley Boulevard. I was not able to find its grand opening date, but by August 1961 leagues were well underway. The Danville Bowl is still in business, but is currently up for sale, its fate uncertain. Golden Gate Lanes, El Cerrito's new $1.5 million 32-lane bowling center, was opened in September of 1962. Golden Gate Lanes was touted as the last word for bowlers. It was the realization of Kenneth Prentice's dream alley that would be second to none. Golden Gate Lanes closed in 1991, replaced by a Target the following year. Lucky Lanes in San Pablo opened in July 1960, touted as the most fantastically beautiful, completely equipped bowling center ever built. Party, bowl, dine, and relax at Lucky Lanes. Lanes closed in 1994, replaced by the Casino San Pablo, which is still in business today. The Ream Valley Bowl opened in 1960, built by Donald Ream. who also constructed the 50s-style landmark Ream Theater and the Ream Shopping Center. But the last pins fell there in July of 1999, despite local efforts to save it. The Monument Bowl in Pleasant Hill opened April 22, 1955 with 16 lanes. With Brunswick alleys and fully automatic AMF pin setters, expanding to 40 lanes just 5 months later. The group's best guess is that it shut down around 1970. Van Winkle of Port Chicago's Bay Cities Recreation Company designed and built the Pittsburgh Bowl, which featured 12 lanes, a glass block fountain, billiard, and pool lounges. Its grand opening happened March 1, 1947. It was a pretty small facility, so much so that children were not allowed on opening night. Best guess is that it was closed around 1963. The Vogue was another alley that I found very little information on, but this July 1946 article mentions it as the new bowl in Pittsburgh, so I assume that is the year that it opened. Best guess is that it closed around 1963. Finally, we have the Delta Bowl, which was opened September 15, 1962, with a ribbon cutting performed by Pamela Jean Gamble, who was 1962's Miss California. The Delta Bowl is still going strong today. Junior bowling clinic and signing up for leagues was available at most of the corridor alleys in 1963. The Ream Bowl is where I bowled as a kid. Great memories there. Today's bowling alleys in the corridor are Round 1 Sun Valley, Danville Bowl, Delta Bowl Antioch, Paddock Bowl Pacheco, Clayton Valley Bowl Concord, Bolero Brentwood, AMF Pinole Valley Lanes, and Pinstripes in Walnut Creek at the Broadway Plaza. Hope I got 'em all. Parting shot, I was blown away by this March 13th, 1947 clip in the Martinez News-Gazette. George McDonald, a blind bowler, had a top score of 256 and a high average of 242. What an amazing guy you were, George. Produced by Mark Harrigan for the 68024 Corridor Facebook History Group. Articles sourced from newspapers.com and Google. Many thanks to Roxy Miraval and the members of this group for their help. Background music from Facebook Studio. Thanks for watching.